Let's start off with honesty. You know, when we were prepping for the show, your quote was, "Be honest with yourself before it's too late." Tell us a little bit more about that.
I think in the relationship building stages, you find that we tend to compromise. It's natural. And we don't see it as compromise. We see it as, oh, that's okay. That's not so bad. I could ignore that.
Yeah.
That's not a big deal. And 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 because we're doing that, we're building a relationship based on false realities. It's not loud because it's not something that you're freaking out about, but the truth of the matter is it is a problem, and it is something that you're not being honest about, that discomforts you or makes you uncomfortable. So when you're not honest with yourself, then it mirrors to your partner. It mirrors to them. And you're all of a sudden in a position where you're telling them lies because, oh, her best mate is talking to her on the phone, and he's a guy, and you're comfortable with it. It's okay. They were best friends for a really good long time, so it's okay. But you're laying down there stewing, thinking, I wonder what she's talking about. I don't like that. That's not nice. And you have negative about it, but because you don't want to push the person away because you see how they value that person, and you don't want to come across negative, or you don't want to come across like controlling, if that's the term they would use, you tend to put yourself in the comfort zone of, it's okay. But here's the thing: when that happens in a relationship, it's okay. But when you get married, you own the person owns you. That's something that turns on inside of you subconsciously. I'm not trying to say that when you get married you own a person. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that when you get married, subconsciously, that person belongs to you, and you respond and behave in a manner that reflects that, even though you don't say it, because
Yeah.
it's an unspoken. And then that's one of the things that you get angry about now. And all of a sudden you start addressing something that you're gonna hear, but why didn't you say that to me then? Because the person on the other side of the picture now is honestly thinking it's okay with you.
Yeah, well, and I think it sounds like there's a difference because to me, there's kind of like three things that happen in a relationship. There's the things that you subconsciously just deal with, meaning that you don't even think about, and it doesn't even bother you. It really doesn't bother you. It's just kind of out there. Then there's the things that you deal with. In other words, the conscious things that you realize that it bothers you a little bit, but you just kind of put it aside and say, it's no big deal. And then there's the things that you choose to make a big deal. And I think what you're saying, and I've seen it myself, where you have the middle things. Not the things you don't even realize. Because if people are free spirited and they really do not care who their partner talks to, then it's never going to come up. But it's the people in the middle, the people that consciously have to think about and stop from being upset about something. That's where I think the problem lies, right? I mean, if you're sitting there and if you're consciously upset about something, but just saying, you know what, it's no big deal, and you have to think about it. In other words, if you're actively thinking about it, then you should be actively thinking about being honest and saying, look, this bothers me, and then either figure out how to make it not bother you, or make the situation go away. I mean, am I making any sense here? Am I on base? Am I off base?
You're on base with the three dynamics of honesty. The dynamic of you think about it, but it's not a big deal. Subconsciously, it is there, but it's okay. Or the dynamic of, yes, you are angry, you're upset about it, but you're just gonna suppress it because you don't want to upset the person. Those are the three dynamics of the honesty. But here's the thing that I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with the honesty entirely. All three of those dynamics are the dynamics that make up the reality of being honest or dishonest. If you're in a position where you're thinking about it, but it's not a big deal, and it angers you, but it's not a big deal. Let's just stop at the point. It angers you.
Yeah.
Big deal or small deal, it angers you.
Well, I
And
think
you're
that's
supposed to
Go
And,
ahead.
and I think that in being honest, you sit down and you wanna talk to the partner and says, "Hun, um, I'll be honest with you, boo. I felt a little uncomfortable when you know, you did that, babes. I forgive me. I don't want you to think that, it's a big deal. It's not really a big deal, darling, but I just felt a little uncomfortable." And then you get the feedback from your partner. If it was a big deal, how would she respond to you? Would she says, "Well, darling, if you don't want me to do that, I wouldn't do that because I don't want you to be unhappy." Or would she respond, "Excuse you? But am I not an individual too? Can't I make my own decisions?" You need to in the early stages of a relationship get the understanding of how would your spouse to be respond
Yeah.
when you have a little issue, because let me be honest, you will have big issues.
Yep. And that's really the key. And I think that the point I was trying to where I was trying to go earlier was that if you don't think about it, I mean, if it doesn't even enter your mind, I mean, literally, if it doesn't enter your mind, then you're being honest with yourself, and you're really okay with it. But
Yeah.
if it enters your mind at all, then you utilize that as a way to say, okay, how I can use this as a way to be honest. I think some people are afraid to be honest because they're afraid of what's going to happen. But, and I think you'd agree with this, but it's better to be honest and take a chance on what is going to happen and have something bad happen, unless it's really bad, than to be quiet and all of a sudden have that really bad thing happen when you're married and when there's a lot more on the line, right?
Yeah, I think I'll share a joke with you. In my marriage currently, my wife and I'm brave. When we were boyfriend and girlfriend at the time, then I'm brave because I'm like, well, we weren't having sex or anything like that. So I'm thinking, you ain't even gonna get to the stage of marriage because I'm gonna tell you how I feel. I don't care if you like it or not, because you see, I've been married and divorced and I hide my feelings and I walk around pretending, and I'm not pretending to you. So if you like it, you deal with it. If you don't like it, we'll figure out a way. But I'm telling you straight up, this is how I feel about it. And I used to do that tremblingly. Tremblingly meaning, and I don't know if that's a word, tremblingly. I used to
It
do it.
is now.
Yeah, yeah, we could copyright that word tremblingly. That's Reverend Michael Steele saying it tremblingly. I used to be doing that tremblingly, saying to her these things, anticipating, is she going to say, "No, I don't want anything to do with you," or is she going to say, "I understand your passion," and the truth is, my wife understood. And then the things that were problems, they stopped being problems because she understood it. And we talked about it, and I fell in love with her. I fell in love with, if if she's doing something I don't like, or if I'm doing something she doesn't like, we can just openly talk about it, have a heated little discussion about it. But 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 then right after, "Hon, what are you having for dinner? What are you having for lunch?" Or and
Yep.
those are dynamics that are healthy to have. You need to this put yourself in a position where you can be truthful. That's the crunch of this point. You got to be in a position where you can be truthful, heard or not.
Exactly, because being truthful and starting off from a place of honesty, while it may not feel comfortable, it's going to save you a lot of problems going forward. It's going to save you a whole lot of problems in the future. So that really
Yeah.
leads us into our next point about in-laws. To watch the rest of this epic episode now, click on the link below the video. Do it now, you'll be glad you did. Are you still here? What are you waiting for? Watch the rest of this epic episode now by clicking on the link below the video.